This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Sorry, KFAN.
This is The Savagery starts at 3. Leader Fan Radio Network.
Change the space.
We're about at the enjoy part.
Be happy. Enjoy it.
And KFAN.com. 2 minutes, 15 seconds past 3 Central Daylight Time. Welcome back. It is a Thursday edition of the Bumper to Bumper program. Going to be a truncated show today. Guardsy tells me we're out about 5:45 this evening. Russo Radio is scheduled for 5:02 from the highly celebrated, if occasionally unsanitary, Fallna Studios.
You didn't tell me that last time was a bit of a meltdown.
Oh.
I didn't hear about that until
It sounded like
earlier this week.
It sounded like Russo was on a speakerphone.
Yeah.
The whole thing was bizarre to me. And then Fallna's got his feelings hurt.
Yeah, they're still hurt.
I said, well, because it made no sense. It's like, what's the point of being in a studio if it was sounded better being on the phone? Some button hadn't been pushed that needed to be pushed. I don't know if it was here or there, but it was awful. I mean, I got to deal with the masses texting me and going, why are you continuing this interview? I can't even understand what he's saying. Today, we hope it'll be better.
The multiple group texts between me, Russo, and Fallna. So I just got a single text from Fallna, so that should be good. And then Halvey's getting thrown under the bus.
Well, I didn't mention Halvey.
No,
I didn't blame him.
Fallness is blaming Halvey. No one's taking accountability. You know how Kevin O'Connell and PJ Fleck both said, all of this falls on me? They're the opposite of head football coaches.
So you're saying that all the principals were very intentional about not blaming themselves. Very intentional. Are you getting more now?
Well, I'm just kind of reviewing what was said. And the best part, and again, I was completely in the dark. I said, what a crew we have. Must have been really embarrassing given nobody told me about it. You know, the producer of the show that's in charge of setting all that stuff up. Nobody let me know that, hey, by the way, next time, let's make sure it's not completely pear-shaped. Blakemore must have been embarrassed. Halvey must have been embarrassed.
Well, I thought somebody said, there was a button and now it's all taken care of. I have no idea. Or a new gonculator was installed. I'm not sure.
I love it.
Whatever it was.
We'll hold our breath for 5 o'clock.
We'll see how it goes with Russo today. Mike Conley's going to join us by phone at 4:30. We expect Sean Salisbury at the bottom of this hour as well. On the pre-show set list, I did put in Dr. Den's inbox TBA. Do we do like a mini version?
We could do one.
I hate to lose it completely.
We could do one at 4:02.
Why don't we do even if it's a mini at 4:02?
Let's do it.
So
we've got some entries,
and there's more, and still an opportunity to get in. JG at KFAN.com. JG at KFAN.com. Congratulations, I guess, are in order. We now know it's official, right? That the Twins have a new manager?
It is official.
What's his name?
Derek Shelton.
Derek Shelton. We know him a little bit, right?
We do.
For more than a minute. And
he's going to join you in studio next Wednesday, by the way.
Is that true?
That's confirmed, yeah.
The ball guys are disappointed because they say, and I get this kind of makes sense, that it smells from here as too obvious a choice or too comfortable a choice. And it's maybe something we'll try to address with the new manager himself, that what are we all looking for? Even the ball guys, they finally came around. It took them like 10 years, but they finally came around. We're all looking for a Molotov cocktail to be thrown into the clubhouse. And I don't mean that literally.
Yep.
I mean that figuratively, right? Somebody who might not go along with the company line. Somebody who might say, wait a minute now. Somebody who might have a set of contrarian positions. That's, of course, why, more than anything, I mean, at the top of our list, even though I know it's unrealistic at this point, was Ozzie Guillen, right? Because that's everything. Ozzie is the ultimate wild card. Sometimes maybe too much of a wild card.
Yep.
But that's the point here. So it did get me to thinking, because I saw online, Suhan is one of the ball guys who says, I'm not suggesting that he's not a capable manager, but I am saying this feels too much like you've just hired another Rocco, and why bother? And he had in the middle of the piece a note also, a reminder that I think, how long's Falvey been here now? Is it close to 10 years? I think it's close to 10.
Yeah, I think it was 2018.
That in that time, the Minnesota Twins have won precisely how many playoff series?
One.
And I guess we all knew that, but I hadn't thought of it in the Falvey terms. And then I did, I guess, start broadening it out a little bit. We are, in so many ways, a sports desert. And that's why the savagery, I think, needs to start at 3 a little bit more often, even if it hurts people's feelings. One playoff series victory in the entire tenure of the current general manager / president of baseball operations. By the way, if you want to go back further, I mean, the Twins, we all know about the Twins' postseason losing streak being historic, right? So we have one successful playoff series, winning not just a game, but a series in the last 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
23 years. Because that was the year we made
the
run to the ALCS. And by the way, that was winning all of one round. Now, again, that meant a little more then because there were fewer teams in the postseason. But think about that for a minute.
I have a lot.
One successful series won in 23 years. Minnesota Wild. Everybody knows the numbers. We haven't won a single playoff series since 2015, right? 10 years.
Sorry, KFAN.
In fact, let's broaden that out too. Wild postseason history. I already had it called up. Let's go back to it. Let's get to it. There's a really good website that allows you to glean this stuff. It's called Champs or Chumps.
It shouldn't take too long to load.
It doesn't. So, the Lemaire run, right? We reached the conference finals and lost. We actually won 2 rounds.
In 7 games, it was epic.
It was, actually. And we would have gone further if not for the cheating goaltender.
Which always happens. That's the other thing we got to remember.
Yeah, I guess that's got to be an asterisk.
We get cheated more than anybody, not just the Wild, everybody.
What year was that? That was 2003.
It was.
We lost in the conference finals. We won 2 rounds. Here's what we've done since then. That was 2003. Missed playoffs, lost first round, missed playoffs, lost first round, lost conference semifinals, won 1 round, that was 14. Lost conference semifinals, won 1 round, that was 15. That's the last time we've won a round.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Since then, lost first round, missed playoffs, lost qualifying round, lost first round, missed playoffs, lost first round.
It's frustrating.
I mean, if you start really putting them together, I mean, that's bad. Is it any wonder that I might be Danny Downer every once in a while, or we might have to start the savagery at 3? I think we've actually forgotten just how bad in a postseason sense it's been. Minnesota Vikings. Again, current regime does not yet have a playoff victory. If I'm doing my math right on us, we've got a grand total of 2 playoff victories in the last 12 years. Right? Do I have that right? 2.
Man,
in the last right? 12. Isn't that right?
Minneapolis Miracle and the Cousins Saints one?
Yes, that's it.
Man.
Isn't that it? Am I forgetting? I think that's 12 years that it goes. So, now the Wolves, of course, you could say now they are a saving grace because they've made it 2 years in a row to the conference finals. Remember, they hadn't even won a playoff series, let alone often made the playoffs, for 20 years before. That drought before we've seen a little bit of momentum, is 20 years, correct?
Right.
Going all the way back to KG, the MV3 year. Now, that's a lot of ineptitude. Because let's face it, now, several of these teams you can say have had pretty good, gaudy regular season records. The Wild have had a couple. The Vikings have had a few, obviously. Twins have even had a couple of decent ones. But let's face it, we play all these games for the postseason. And again, we're not asking. Maybe we should, but I'm not even asking to win. I'm not grading on how many championships have you won. I'm grading on simply how many runs have you made. We got no runs. The Wild have had one in their history. The Wolves have now had 3, and the good news is now 2, or, this past 2 seasons, may not feel like it after the debacle last night at home against the Lakers, where even I think could have told the head coach, switch. Everybody's got to switch on that last inbounds play, because he's now regretting that he didn't have any. He didn't call for switching. Where how many seconds were there when they inbounded the ball?
6.6.
So you got it. Yeah, that's what you have to do. But that's a sorry tale. And this is just on the professional level I'm talking about. I'm still bitter that the Gopher football team never won the West Division.
Yeah.
I still think that's a great missed opportunity. That's over now. We're past that. Maybe someday we'll have more divisions. But I'm sure there are other markets that compare as pretty close to us. But you do put all these together and you say, the miracle of KFAN's growth to what it's become is exactly that. We haven't had any help from the teams.
How do we have any sports fans left?
We've not. It's like, because you can go to a lot of, like Boston, you go, well, of course,
I've been there.
Sports talk radio is going to be lucrative and profitable and successful in Boston. All they do historically for at least a long stretch was win titles in every sport.
It ruined a vacation.
We had to manufacture everything.
Boston ruined a vacation for me because I was listening to one of either the Hub or EEI, and I was so bitter about what their hosts got to do. They went from the Celtics playoff run to the Bruins playoff run to Red Sox spring training coming off a World Series to coming up. Tom Brady talked at minicamp today. I'm like, these guys are jackasses. No wonder they beat us in the Barrett Sports Media Power Rankings. They've got all this help. We have had to, we've got no help. We've had to do it all on our own. And maybe we've articulated the popular rage pretty well, but here's what worries me, and this was the point of why I wanted to start the show with it, is that I'm not even sure we're paying close enough attention to be raging about it. It's almost like we're numb to it.
We're numb to it. We've almost forgotten how if you start putting all these years together, we all got into, obviously, the losing streak, the Twins' losing streak being the longest in major professional sports history. But this goes deeper and more broad. It's more broadly than that, doesn't it? When you factor in again, and let's be clear about something. It's not that difficult to make the playoffs anymore in hockey. Well, it hasn't been for a while. Or basketball, in truth, just to make the postseason. Baseball, it's becoming easier over the course of the time that Falvey has been in charge. It's becoming easier and easier to make the postseason. We've got decade after decade where you probably do remember vividly details of any of these teams' runs because there have been so few of them. Oh, yeah, that's the run, the Wild run. Yeah, Lemaire. That was it. Yeah, I remember some things about it. Maybe I wasn't born yet, but I heard about it from my mom and dad. So that's sort of the unfortunate spot that we are indeed in right now. And I don't know what you do about it. I'm not saying... it made me scratch my head and say, why is the threshold for all of our teams like 10 years since we've won our last round, 10 years since we've won our last playoff game? That's hard to do. Given the number of sports, professional sports we have, we're blessed to that extent, right? We got them all. We got hockey, we got basketball, we got football, we got baseball. And we're lucky if we get a single playoff series win in 10 years. Lucky, let alone, again, making a run to the conference finals or beyond. The Wolves, I know hockey fans hate it, but right now the Wolves are, to that extent, the saving grace. At least they have been the last couple of years.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
I think is what you're trying to say. The Fan and Two Men and a Junk Truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. You can enter the keyword grand at KFAN.com. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword grand.
Vikings. 2024 playoffs. Won 0 rounds, right? We lost in the wild card.
Last year, to the Rams
year.
in Arizona.
I'm working backwards from there. Missed playoffs. Lost wild card round. Missed playoffs. Missed playoffs. Lost divisional round. So we won 1 round. That's 2019. That was the Minneapolis Miracle, correct?
No, 19 was Cousins to Rudolph.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yep, in overtime.
Yeah, exactly right.
I believe it was overtime or fourth quarter.
Going back from that game, missed playoffs, won 1 round. That's the one. That's the Miracle, 2017. Missed playoffs, lost wild card round. Missed playoffs, lost wild card round. Missed playoffs. Now I'm all the way back to 2009. And we did win 1 round there, and then
beat the Cowboys.
We were 10-point favorites. 10-point favorites at home to beat Atlanta to get to the Super Bowl, and we lost the game. And then we had the audacity. Oh no, that's 98. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not far back enough. 2009 was. Well,
that was where we outplayed the Saints.
That's the Favre year. We outplayed the Saints. Yeah, I haven't gotten back to the 98 one.
We beat the Cowboys. We ran them out of the dome, and then lost to the Saints.
So before that season, lost wild card round, missed playoffs, lost divisional round, won 1 round, missed playoffs. 2000, lost conference championship.
41 donut.
1999, lost divisional round, lost conference champ. We actually had a stretch from 96 where, 97, 98, 99, 2000, we won playoff games 4 straight years. We didn't know how good we had it. Now, we didn't get the payoff that we were looking for. Those are sorry numbers. And look, it's not like we haven't ever discussed this before. I just think every once in a while, we've got to plant the flag and remind people. Now, in all honesty, there's one individual who believes, this is an interesting theory. I'd argue that KFAN evolved into the popular station it did because of Minnesota sports ineptitude, not in spite of it. He thinks that helped build us in a way that if all we did was win, we might not have been as successful. Perhaps we became the vessel through which frustrated, passive-aggressive Minnesota sports fans felt they had a voice. They had individuals who were trying to stand tall on their behalf and demanding more than we have tended to get. We understand, by the way, this is on the men's side of the equation. We well know the history of the Minnesota Lynx.
Although they're joining the party the last 2 years.
Yeah, that wasn't their fault.
2 years ago wasn't.
They got no, and last year wasn't either. We got cheap shotted.
That's true.
And we on a foul call that would have changed everything, even though we're still down by 4. But I don't want to go back into that. Dan, what's your objective from this conversation? I think I just laid it out. I just think I don't think we. This sounds odd because usually when people say, well, you're taking it for granted, you're taking success for granted, like in some of the big markets have been successful. Sadly, I think we're taking losing for granted and taking it in stride too much. I'm not asking you that you go picket the local teams or that you boycott. But I'm saying if, again, you put year after year together, 10 years backwards for each of these teams, and with the recent, emergence of the Wolves, it ain't much. And all the trials and tribulations, all the analyzing that we do, all the yin and the yanging of it, the ups and downs of it. They got to do this instead of this, or what did this mean? And in the end, it hasn't really amounted to much of anything. It really hasn't. At the professional, men's professional sports level.
How many days has it been overcast? I feel like the overcast skies have put you in this mood where you woke up today and said, you know what? When it was sunny and 60 and 70, basically all the way through MEA, I don't remember this coming up very often. I'm blaming the overcast skies, the low cloud cover.
Now somebody's saying the keyword was expired.
What day is today?
I don't have any idea. Today's Thursday? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I said grand. Thursday, October 30th, grand.
So you got it right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I think so. If
all
I said
our teams
grand.
suck because I haven't been cheering hard enough. It's 100% on me, and I take full accountability. I have to be better, and I'll be looking into what I need to change to put our guys in position to win. Yeah, there's probably something to that. KFAN growth, misery loves company theory.
Maybe.
Have you heard about that one? Yeah, it can be unifying in its own way, correct? This is from Judd, Minnesota sports fan out of Chicago. KFAN has grown during the decades of sports failure. It's not necessarily a testament to the greatness of KFAN as much as it's evidence that Minnesota sports fans enjoy failure. Or perhaps in perfect passive-aggressive style that encapsulates Minnesotans, we enjoy mediocrity. We like whining about being flyover country, but we don't care enough to demand more. We're happy to support mediocrity. We long for it. We don't even like highs or lows. We are Minnesotans. So mediocrity generally means in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Not awful, not hideous, not historically bad, but just not very good, just not very distinguished.
Do we reward it, though? Because I feel like everybody's attendance kind of ebbs and flows. Like the Vikings are consistent, but...
Vikings are incredibly consistent. The Wild are too consistent. From an attendance standpoint.
Maybe. But it was waning until they did the Parisian Suitor thing.
10 years. How many years ago was that?
It was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's waning a little bit now.
Yeah.
I think it's been waning.
Well, we'll keep some look at some of the texts because there's some good ones that are coming in. I want to stay on schedule. Let's talk football with Sean Salisbury, get his reaction to the Vikings debacle against the Chargers. I think he had picked the Vikings to win that game. So what did he see, and what's the Wentz story? I have a hunch he's going to be in the group that says Wentz did exactly, and the coach did exactly what he should do with a quarterback who doesn't want to come out of the game, because Salisbury's got some tough guy in him too. But we'll find out. If you have questions for him, 646-86. Wolves guard Mike Conley will join in about an hour. Russo Radio from the what used to be called the X at 5 o'clock from the Fallon Studios to talk Minnesota Wild. Sean Salisbury is indeed back with us now via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. Sean, I want to ask you a college football question before we get into the Vikings and the quarterback move and the Wentz decision, etc. How well do you have any connection with the Curt Cignetti Indiana story? Is it real? How is it happening? Of course, that's my alma mater, as you know, as I've pointed out often these days with the sudden success of Indiana football. What do you make of the story? And do you have any connections at all to him trying to figure out, everybody trying to figure out why he's been able, at least to this point, do what he's done?
Yeah, I think it's real. Now, Dan, part of the problem is going to be that no matter how real it is, we're all going to continue to say, yeah, man, look at that basketball school that's having a couple good years of football, which is normal at Kentucky, at Duke, no matter how well David Cutcliffe did, or, when Stoops has them on the up and up. I don't know him personally. I know people who do know him and say that what he tells you is real, from that Northeast connection and the long life of football coaches. And there's something about that I love. But as far as insight to the program, I watch him closely, because last year you think, well, is this an aberration?
Yeah.
Well, what's he going to do with the new quarterback? Rourke last year. Now he's got Mendoza. Well, there you have it. I judge great coaches. And there's a lot of factors. I'm a ton you think you don't know that go into it. And I always say at the top of the list is buy-in. You don't have to be Nick Saban to get buy-in or Mike Krzyzewski. But the people that come in with the thought, if they're new, they're going to get buy-in. With a guy like Cignetti, who's been a few places, been an assistant, family coaching tree, gets this opportunity that was supposed to be, well, what a great upgrade for him, has turned it into a team that right now looks like it can beat anybody in the country. How real it is, Dan, you and I watch it. I see it with the naked eye and then go back and watch some of those games and say, how are they getting it done? But buy-in matters to me. And I don't care what level it's at. High school, college, Pop Warner, NFL, NBA, it doesn't matter. Because I've seen guys that are perceived great coaches. Well, let's take Brian Kelly, for instance. Brian Kelly, if you're going to act abrasive and do the things he does, you damn well better win.
Yeah, that's true.
You better win a lot. You can't alienate, because when you alienate, and it's 3 and 4 and 5 people, you're not allowing people to come in and you're not delegating any authority. You're the one who hired these assistants. Let them coach. And if that's the way you're going to do it, you better win a lot. And if you don't, the first person to go is usually you. And I would have moved on from him too, because I feel like when you walk into the building at LSU and Brian Kelly was there, is you were going to a miserable day as a player, as a that's just the way I felt. And hearing from some of these things, I think that we can probably validate that. With Cignetti, it feels like no matter where he's gone, he's impacted people. He's impacted them at lower division school. He walked into Indiana. You can't just do this in 2 years and sustain it for 2 years and be lucky. You're playing. You're not playing in in an FCS school, and there's some good ones, but I do think it's real, Dan. Now, I don't know how long it is. Does this all of a sudden, look at the money they gave him? They sure as hell think it's real.
Yeah.
He thinks it's real because he said he loves it here and he didn't bail. Now, that's a nice thing when they pay you all that guaranteed money. But from my vantage point, and I've not been in a building, but the people I do talk to that are closer to him or that situation than I am, this is not a fraud or fake guy. Now, they'll go through it. It's the Big Ten.
Sure.
Look, Penn State's gone through it. They all do. But I think that it's just because it's Indiana, we're shocked. But the great equalizer is, one, a coach who knows how to get buy-in from the executive assistant, from the person who tapes ankles. And I know that sounds cheesy, but any successful place I've ever been, they have. When we were winning in Minnesota, right down to Dennis Ryan, our equipment guy, and Fred Zamberletti, right up to Denny, we had good people everywhere that were empowered to do their thing. We just did. I know it didn't get a Super Bowl, but we also had pretty damn good players. Sometimes you got to be a little lucky. But so I do. And I watched that program closely because of the impact he's making. And I'm thinking, could he do this? Or what would happen if he's doing this in Indiana if he got LSU's football players?
Right.
Or, one of those, you're thinking, well, damn. But you know what, Dan? It really doesn't matter, because eventually good coaches know how to take 3 stars and develop them. You've seen the opposite. And where guys come in, and it was happening after, I love Mac Brown. Mac's a friend, everything. When he was at Texas, they were going through, they were winning. And then all of a sudden they went through that. They were getting 5-star recruits that were leaving 3-star players. And it just got to the point where it was stale, and they were not developing them. It was just they get there and they got no better. With me, and that happens both ways. Guys do get better. And I think it's a unique individual. And so I judge coaches on a lot. But the one thing is, when you walk into the building, is there buy-in immediately? Because you're not just talking about it, but the way you're teaching it and the way you're approaching your day-to-day business. I do think it's real. Now, obviously, it's a blue blood basketball program. We're a long way away from that. But they're opening eyes because they're beating you with better technique, better sound execution.
Yeah.
And I think the right guard at Indiana thinks that he's better than the right guard at Alabama. And I think that's important, and that's part of the buy-in. That's great leadership. Great head coaches, Dan. I guess I don't mean to take so long with this, but I think about it all the time, and reading these leadership books is, when you hire a head coach, I'm not hiring the X's and O's head coach. I'm hiring a great leader first, X's and O's second. That's why I got a coordinator. And those coordinators got assistant coaches, because they're the ones handling the X's and O's for the most part on college, most of the day, every day, 24/7. Denny knew X's and O's because he coached Jerry Rice, and he knew it. But when he got there, Brian Billick and Tony Dungy, and that group was handling the day-to-day X's and O's. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And Denny's leadership and how to bring people together and know when to make a 4th down call. Cignetti has the X's and O's and the passion, but what he's doing is he's hired good assistants. That's why when everybody says, well, what's the head coach? My first look is not who they got in a recruiting class. It's who they hire as their assistant coaches. I want to know, because those are the ones who have the day-to-day contact. If I have a great X's and O's head coach that can't lead, he will be fired within 3 or 4 years. I can guarantee it. Give me the opposite, he'll keep a job because he understands how to hire great players and hire great coaches and go recruit great players.
What happened to the Minnesota Vikings a week ago tonight in Inglewood, California?
I thought it was an embarrassing performance offensively. I did. And I know the Chargers are pretty good, but they were going in, Dan, as you and I talked about, reeling a little bit, right? I mean, they weren't playing their best football. You know, they were physically manhandled. Now, I looked at the defensive numbers after that game, and I go back, and the defense is still a top 10 against the run, top 10 in the league with points. I mean, they're still doing their job. And against they're for the most part. Now, when you're on the field that much, you're going to give up big plays. You're going to make mistakes. But I thought they were manhandled. They got their quarterback. If you're a protection person, a coach that's putting protections in, if you're on that offensive line, tight end, running back, people they're protecting, and whether he holds the ball or not, a lot or not, you should have come out of that game thinking, and running it 11 times.
Yeah,
I know they only had the ball 20 minutes. Doubled in time of possession. They got down by 17 or 18, whatever it was before half, and watching the game. But they got curb stomped in every facet of the game. The quarterback got his brains beat in and kept trying to compete. The running game got going, so there was no commitment to the run game, even when you're down some to try and control it. They let the Chargers do whatever they wanted throughout the entire game, controlled every part of it. I thought it was a fairly humiliating performance by the coaching staff, by the play calling, and you put Brian Flores' defense in a bind. What are you going to do? And by the people who protect the quarterback and move the line of scrimmage, that didn't look like a playoff team, and right now they're not playing like it. That looked like a team scrambling around to wonder who they're going to draft next April. And they were not good offensively. I know things will change with the quarterback change and Carson being out, but now you're going back to a rookie who's in essence played about 2 games in his career. 2 games in 2 seasons. That's what you're going to.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's very true. I can't disagree with any of it that you've laid out. I do want to get your view on the debate that's broken out here regarding the decision to continue to play Wentz. I have a hunch you and I might disagree on this one, but I don't know. I've not heard you on this, I don't think. I felt that when the lead gets to 24 fairly early in the fourth quarter, and with a QB who literally looks like he's on fire in pain every time he gets touched, that no matter how much he wanted to continue to play and he's not going to be a guy who asks out, I think if you're the head coach, you can save a player from himself. And I thought if any situation called for that, even though I know this isn't a brain injury, this is a shoulder injury, and allegedly it couldn't get worse, that was the occasion for KOC to say, enough, we're putting in the kid, we're going to have him hand off a bunch, we're going to throw a lot of check down passes, and we're going to get out of Dodge. Where are you on that whole issue on Wentz continuing to play deep into the fourth, I think, until that final possession?
Where you and I sit, what we're doing here, I agree with you 100%. It was awful. I thought it was irresponsible. And I'm one of those guys that think the rules, and I've always believed you got to play hurt. Yes, you may not be able to play injured. You got to play hurt. This was not hurt. He's injured. And I don't mean irresponsible that you're putting his life in danger. I'm not talking about some dramatic movie. Number one is he wasn't helping the team at that point.
Great point.
He was not helping the team. That's my number one part. It's not to Carson Wentz or to his ego, or to the coach's ego, or to the front office, or what you're paying him. That's not the responsibility. The responsibility is, one, to win, and to my teammates in this organization. Carson Wentz, at that point, his game was done. There wasn't much left in the tank. Injury-wise, he was frustrated, which I get. I don't have a problem with him showing emotions.
Right.
Matter of fact, with him, that particular human, I needed to see it.
Yes.
Quite frankly. And I know my guy Herb Street disagreed, got to control your emotions. I 180 degrees disagree with that one. Because at that point, the question, as I told you before, that I heard from an insider at other places, a guy who coached him, was, does he love it anymore?
Yep, exactly.
I needed to see that for me. So no problem with that at all. Helmet slamming, pissed off. Matter of fact, teammates don't have a problem with that either. If the guy was smiling, I'd have had a big problem with it. But they got to a point where the game was out of reach, considering the optics and the way they were getting dominated on their offense. Okay. They were getting shoved around. So I thought it was irresponsible to the football team, not irresponsible to Carson Wentz dying from a shoulder injury. But he was giving you no chance to win at that point in that particular game. That's one. Two, from the quarterback side of me, it's like a pitcher that comes out like Max Scherzer. If you're walking out, we're fighting. Especially a guy like me who didn't start all the time.
Yes.
When you start, you get a chance. Like, you're not pulling me out of this game unless you want a fist fight right here on the sidelines. That part of me says, good on you, Wentz. But the decision's easy. At that point in time, you're not sacrificing a game. Apparently, according to you, the guy behind him could have, if he has to take snaps, right?
Yep.
So you get him a little work or what have you. At that point in time, it was irresponsible to the team. He was not playing well. He was getting his brains beat in and really couldn't affect you. So, I'll tell you what bothers me even more about it, Dan, is that you're basically telling me that a guy who was probably playing at 65, 70% of his game, maybe at the best, that you're telling me that gives you the best chance to win? Or were you afraid that some other guys were going to get their brains beat in and you just let him guinea pig it for you? I don't know. And I love Kevin. I don't think he was putting him out there to get him hurt.
Right,
you know that.
right.
But I thought it was irresponsible on the win-loss side or getting guy work, even if you were going to hand it off the rest of the game and put nobody in harm's way. I mean, you talk about the whammy on Wentz, and I'm sure Wentz battled him and did what he had to do, because you know what? I applaud him for that. But there's also the point of diminishing returns that you have to take the play. You have to protect the player from himself, is like you said, because most of the players I know, you got to drag them off. Now, there's some that may have dragged themselves off, but the optics of Wentz, thank you for competing, but the optics for the team, and as a quarterback, I'm on Wentz's side. From this standpoint, it's like, dude, if you're telling me at 60% he's the best we got right now to get us back into a game, if that's what you were hoping for, because we all think we can pull it out in the fourth quarter. They did nothing in any decision last week to give themselves a chance to win, and I thought it was ugly optics, ugly performance, borderline embarrassing from top to bottom on the offensive side of the ball, and decisions that were made.
Well, we do agree, because I thought there was a chance as a guy who never wanted to leave a game would say, no, man. I
am as the quarterback.
Right.
Yes. As the quarterback, I'm all for it. And I'd have put my arm around and said, and even as the coach, I'd have probably said, dude, you want to gut this out? And at some point in time, you say, dude, I got it. You can't do this anymore.
Exactly.
You just can't do that. And if we get into an argument and a fight, then we'll get into an argument and a fight, and I'm protect. Right. No problem. That's the emotions of football. So from our seat right now, I'm with you. From the seat of the jersey on, goodness gracious. I mean, we used to be, and I know this isn't a concussion, but back in the day, they give us smelling salts. You could fool the concussion, right? You're just trying to get through it because you didn't want to be pulled out. So, because you never knew when the next opportunity was coming. But so I applaud Wentz's courage. I thought it would have been more courageous for Kevin to say, dude, we'll fist fight right here if you want to, or you want to argue, but your ass is sitting right here the rest of this game. You've given us a valiant effort. And you've came in and won some games for us that we probably at that point in time needed you. Right now, I got to protect you from yourself. We got to have a bit, not only for the team, but for you. I love you, but we'll fight afterwards. And if you want to argue with me right now, let's get after it, but we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, to me, it's the old, because what Kevin said after the game was the player was all in, the doctors said this was all just about, tolerating the pain. And I'm yelling, that can all be true. But you still have a right as the head coach to say, I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what the player says. I may admire it because he's obviously been a good soldier for them in a tough circumstance for sure.
Damn right.
I'm the head coach. This is a bad look. And as you point out, I'm not even sure at this point he does whatever chance you had to come back in that game, which was minimal. I'm not sure he represents the best chance over even a rookie quarterback, in this case, Brosmer. So to me, for all those reasons, I'm still puzzled by the approach they've taken in-house and even publicly with this thing, almost like, well, what's the big deal here? I don't know what you guys are worried about. This wasn't a head injury. I don't think it matters. So.
And you know what bothers me too, Dan, is why, a guy who's had 5 surgeries and a knee replacement, I'm just using me as an example, but I got buddies that when they're 65 are walking with a cane. So I know we only give attention to head injuries, but the right guard who can't get up,
right,
who's 60, buddies I played with, who can't walk. Look how Bruce Bochy walks now, and he's a buddy. Look how Boch as a manager walks when he's walking out to replace a pitcher. Butch can bear those hips. And it's like, damn, it looks like he's labor. Now take the players played 15 years and can barely walk. But we only want to worry about head injuries. That's for another argument. It's like ankle injuries, knee injuries, shoulder injuries. I mean, the Achilles, they all matter too. I know the head injury is more dangerous in the lifespan of PTSD, but the concussion part. But another thing about this, and you're so right, and I'm sure the doctors did say can't hurt it worse. I'm sure Carson Wentz did fight to stay in. God bless him. But I also know this. Let's just say both of those, and it's right. As a head coach, are you watching what I'm watching?
Exactly.
The performance was telling you all along, injury or not, it might have been time to go to the bench. Just for everybody, a little spark, not just on Wentz. And I mean, maybe the kid, the rookie comes in and gets a little spark going. We've seen a million times in sports when somebody comes in with a different perspective. Just the simple performance offensively alone told you, well, let the young kid go out and take the beating. Let's see what he's got for a game. We ain't winning this thing at that point. You're not quitting, but it almost felt by leaving him in, you were quitting. And even though I know he wasn't, if you make my point.
Yeah, I do.
If you get my point, it's just, to me, it's like the optics of the game itself told you, injury or not, the guy needed to be on the sidelines and play somebody else because they were not playing well.
Well, the pushback I've gotten all week, and I'm getting it while we're talking, from people saying this is real simple. The Vikings at the line of scrimmage, the offensive line was getting destroyed, and the head coach didn't want to run the risk of getting another of his quarterbacks injured. And I'm saying, I get that in theory, but I'm saying aesthetically, the look is so bad, I think organizationally, that sometimes you can't think that way. You have to say, he's over here next to me. Anytime you coach on the basis of, well, we're willing to further sacrifice this guy who's writhing in pain every time he goes down like he's been shot. We're willing to ride that out because at least we'll know he's the only guy who's going to be writhing in pain. I just don't think that's the way you can coach.
Yeah, and Dan, what would have been the difference? You put a young guy in. Okay, you don't want to get another guy hurt, so let's let him out there and let him just get his brains beat in. The guy, you can't even step out of trouble, even though it was his shoulder. You can't even step out of trouble at that point in time for Carson Wentz. A young guy I don't care if one's a better scrambler than the other, at least a different perspective. You're a little more active, and you're like, even if you can't get through your reads, at least you can buy some time or prepare for it. And if you're hoping, even if you were going to run it and just do the quick passing game and get out of the building, that's fine. But you'd still, and who knows what happens if the guy comes in and makes a few plays and you say, okay, it was a chance to get some experience for somebody to protect another guy. I just, at some point in time, you got the standing 8 count that's hit 14 times. Yes. Eventually, you got to rub the gloves together and rave your hands with Mills Lane and say, enough. It's time. We're in a tag team. Give me the next guy to see if we can get through this thing. And there was a lot of reasons. And I'm all about the tough guy. I am.
No doubt.
And this has nothing to do with being soft or a pillow fight.
Zero.
This has everything to do with it gave you no chance for Carson Wentz, but it also gave your team no chance to win. And you can never make a decision based on, well, what if the next guy gets hurt? Well, if my aunt had stones, she'd be my uncle. Okay, that's not the way you look when you got quarterbacks in the roster. You got to hope the next guy does it.
Exactly.
It's a vicious, violent game. And Carson Wentz, well, he took the brunt of it, as well witnessed by what's going to happen to him the rest of the season.
The Vikings are taking on, as you know, Detroit, and now the baton has been handed to McCarthy. It's going to be his team. That's what they intended when the season began, obviously. It's probably, to a certain extent, as it should be. To that extent, Carson Wentz has made it easier because he's certainly come back to the pack in terms of the way he's played, and now he's getting the surgery, so he's out anyway. So what's your best advice to just trying to get McCarthy on the board, especially, as I said, factoring in, you're walking into the meat grinder, right, of one of the best teams in the conference, a team that's got some pretty good defensive pressure as well. So what do you do? You can't, you can't treat him like he's 12. It's like, this is supposed to be your franchise quarterback, but how do you give him a chance for some success?
You can't crap can your game plan for one guy, but you do have to be judicious in how you approach it. This is one of those games that feels like, to me, old school 49ers, Cowboys, not the competition, but the way they went about it, North Turn. I think I've mentioned this before, is do a handful of things a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're running like the 40, 12 passes, 6 runs, change them up with the window dressing and looks and formations and motions and personnel groupings. But it's the same read for the quarterback, right? Drag slant, flat slant, curl flat, motion, deep over route with an under route, RPO. I can tell you this, you better change his launch point. You better change his launch point. And if you run it 11 times, you're going to get punted. You are going to get absolutely destroyed. One thing, their offense can score from the parking lot, and their defense is not worse than it was last year.
No.
It may very well be better. And Hutchinson gets paid. They are trying to continue to send a message. And I know it's Michigan. I mean, they're playing against a team where he played his college ball at and all that. Fine and dandy. And that's all cool until you get punched in the face about 3 times. Now, these are those games that if you're Detroit saying, well, look at this, they're beat up, their offense isn't moving the ball, there's no commitment to the run game. You don't blink because Atlanta, it will do what they did to Buffalo. You're like, what? Mm-hmm. And then they'll get beat. So those games do happen, but I'm not just going to put on the big, the foam finger kid gloves type of thing and say, you're a first round draft pick. You're the reason Darnold and Daniel Jones aren't here. And so we have got to play a regular game plan. If he's healthy, you got to cut it loose, but you better be wise in the way you do it. And it doesn't mean you can't run it. You have to implement him in the run game. You have to change his launch point for people to understand what I'm saying. You can't just drop him back in the pocket the whole time and let it become that, because then he'll tee off and you will be down to you'll be down to another quarterback. So change the launch point. You're going to have to prevent a fast start. That's the problem when you play Detroit. But you can blink and it's 17-0. That's how explosive they are. And then you're in a chase mode. Then you get caught up. So allow yourself to stay in a game plan you have by, first quarter and half. You've got to stay within striking distance, because they'll get into a track meet while you're running a slow marathon. They run the 4x100 meter relay and they curb stomp you in a hurry. And then they cut it loose in the pass rush. So I don't want to say simplify makes it seem like they're not doing anything, but I would do a lot of the same stuff and find out what JJ's comfortable with matched up against how they play coverage and fronts, and then dress it up. And don't be afraid to go back to the same thing 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Just make it look different to the defense. Our whole game plan on offense is to make the defense think it's complex, but to have us break the huddle knowing it's pretty simple to read. And I think to get him a rhythm, and I always feel, give me a couple quick completions, 4 or 5 in a row, whether it's a screenplay, a check down, a slant, to get him going. Then it's like, okay, you start to feel it. But a couple, 2, 3 and outs, and then all of a sudden, here we go again. So the defense will compete unless they're on the field 20 extra minutes like they were last week. But it's the offense and their production, and you got to find ways to get your best players the football. I don't care how it is. I don't care if you got to put him in the backfield and toss him the ball. You got to get him the football, because if you're one-dimensional in this game, it won't be a fun watch this weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend, my friend. Great stuff as always. We'll chat next Thursday.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Have a great one.
Sean Salisbury helping us out as only he can indeed do. We got Russo Radio coming up at 5. Did we talk about doing the inbox next?
I think we can.
We'll squeeze in. It might be a mini version of Dr. Dan's inbox, but we'll get to it. We've also got Mike Conley to talk Wolves and NBA at 4:30.